I've been working with the Copilot assisting coding for some time now, and I would like to share with you a few tips, thoughts from the experience that I've gained. It is definitely changing the way I'm working, expanded significantly um, what I can do on my own, and I feel so much more empowered to be creative and effective. So, what I did when I got a new demo that I wanted to create was, for a change, I wrote in a markdown a full specification of what I wanted the demo to do. It's I've set up an Azure environment with different services, and I said, please use these services. I said what architecture I'm going to do, what are capabilities, how the UI should look like, what it should do, and what the coding style should be. When I look in VS Code, let me show you in VS Code how it looked like. So I've saved my original markdown here. I called it vibe. You can talk about, yeah, is this vibe coding? No, it's not, because I'm not going to just write instructions and let it do its own and be happy. It's assisting me do the coding. But what I did was I said, this is what the project is going to do. This is what my mission is. This is the inspiration. This is the resources that I have. These are the key features that I will have. Um, and this is how I would like it to work. And there's something about the UI, something a little bit below. This is how the interface could be structured. And yes, I took my original description and put it through Claude.ai externally to VS Code and said, could you help me make this even better? That's why this is quite more structured. And you will see that also I update it as I go along. So once I've done that, I found that there's also a way to tell GitHub a little bit more, GitHub, sorry, GitHub Copilot about what my expectations are. And there's an interesting learnings here. So if you look in GitHub Copilot instructions, you can see I've written here some instructions. I've changed them as I've gone along. So you can see here now my first instruction is just do what I'm asking you to do. Because originally, um, each time I requested a modification, um, sometimes it deleted what it did beforehand. It did more than I asked for. I'm asking it to keep the code as simple as possible, so I can follow it. Uh, it's a demo code, right? Um, Now, I had here originally also update the README each time you do something, update the high level design document each time you do something. But that took a lot of processing time, a lot of tokens, and I had to wait a long time until it figured out what it wanted. And sometimes the modification to the documents were not that important. So now I've changed it to, would you update the documents when there's a major change or when I ask for it? Yeah. And there's a few other things here, like for instance the design principles when I do a UI and so forth. So the next thing I've done is, after I had the basic solution first capability there and I was happy with the UI and so forth, I started adding features, capabilities as I was going, and I really recommend doing it one by one. So add something, ensure, because then it's easier for you to follow what are the changes in the code and accept them or not accept them. And you can go line by line and see what's happening and use your experience to decide whether you are happy with the changes or not. Um, And obviously, once that is done, then it also updates the document. Test a lot of testing, test, because you can't trust that it's doing what you want. And sometimes I change the. You can see here when I was working, you can ask questions about why are you doing this. So you ask a question: why is this not working? What's not happening? You can ask for an edit. I find that the agent mode is really useful when you're asking it to be, oh, keep it simple, do only what I want you to do, and here's a feature I'm asking you to do. And you can sometimes, if it's not doing what you want, you can change the base model that is behind it. I really like Cloud Sonnet. It's done a really good job, but occasionally I went and asked it to use Gemini. Obviously, I played with the one in the preview. And that, especially, I do that when I'm not getting the behavior that I'm expecting from Claude. So I go to a different base model and see what it suggests. There's another case, I'll get to it in a second, where I do that. Okay. One interesting lesson that I learned is, especially when you're working with the ask or with the edit, identifying the context here. So let me just go to here. Sorry, the add context here is really important. So I do spend some time at the beginning of a project adding here to the context. I did realize that Copilot likes the things that are open here are kind of automatically in the context when you do the agent mode. And it's better for some reason to keep them open when you're working. But otherwise, you can just add more in the context as folders and so forth. It's quite important. If you don't put the context in, sometimes the coding assistant does not give you what you are expecting or does not edit what you wanted. And yes, the other thing is, each time I got to a state where I was happy, definitely do a commit, because there's a lot of messing about that you might want to undo. So always ensure you've got a commit point that you can go back to if you lost your way with the coding. That goes always in any coding, but specifically with assisted coding. I did have a lot of cases. Kill me, I have no idea why, because I was not asking for very sophisticated stuff. Where Claude gave me this message, I suspect that sometimes it's just looking in my repo and saying, but you've already done that in your previous commit or something like that. So I'll show you an example of in the UI. So here's the UI that I have at the moment. And I've got here a bit where it says, just go to the blob storage, show me what's inside and allow me to edit, delete, and whatever. Basically a functionality. And when I asked that of Claude.ai, I said, hey, give me a tab that does the blob storage and so forth. It says, no, I'm not going to give it to you because it looks like somebody else's code. Of course, but everybody's going to ask for this, right? It's a natural thing. That's kind of annoying. So I went to Gemini and asked Gemini to do that for me. If I'm already here, once I finished the project, I did ask it, go for all my documentation, go for all my code, and just create for me a summary of what it is about, what's the innovation, what's the technology. And I'm quite, of course, I had to edit it. I deleted a lot of stuff that I didn't like and I made it a little bit tighter. I'm very happy. I wouldn't have done this on my own in such a nice looking way. Just to amuse you, if I just will run one of these, I did say, create for me a kind of a spinning robot. When you're analyzing the code, it came up with that, and I'm so amused and pleased with this. Okay, so after I've done this, over the weekend, as I was preparing the video, I said, oh, well, let's see what other people are saying. And I came across this video that I highly recommend you listen to this video. I like very much like the concept of the integrated thought clarifier. I'll be very, very curious to see where it evolves to. And this video is also definitely worthwhile watching. He goes down also to show how he actually does some of this context engineering in Claude. He provides a template and so forth. I like the concept of context engineering very, very, very much. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.